Do you ever wonder if you're having an impact on your grandchildren? I mean, sure, you love to have video calls with them. You love to be able to get together, do things around the holidays, do things around the summer, go on hikes. Maybe you see them very often and you go to their baseball games or their soccer games, or maybe you go to their school plays and you go to their different activities. But have you ever wondered, kind of like me, if you're really having an impact on these grandchildren? Well, in this month's one-on-one conversation, we're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about a great resource to help inspire you and even maybe add a few tools to your tool chest to increase that impact that you have on your grandchildren. This is going to be a fun conversation, so stay tuned. Hello, and welcome to the Cool Grandpa Podcast. This is your host, Greg Payne, coming at you from Studio 12. This podcast is about being the best possible grandpa you can be, focusing on what it is to be a grandpa and how we can all share that experience together for our grandchildren. I know sometimes, as grandparents, we can feel like we all enjoy each other. We enjoy the company of the grandchildren. We enjoy the company of the family. But are we really having a deep impact? Now, this is not something that I keep in the forefront of my mind on every time I'm grabbing my grandson and throwing him across the pool, or grabbing my granddaughter and messing around and wrestling with her on the ground, or doing whatever the activities are. No, I don't always have this thought. But sometimes when I'm driving around or I'm thinking about the grandkids, I do wonder if I'm having an impact with them. And I bet you're having the same kind of thoughts that occasionally creep in. Is all this making any difference in the lives of my grandkids? Or are we just kind of having fun and we're just there as a distraction and another way to help with babysitting or help out with the grandkids from time to time? Well, I'm going to tell you that going through and talking with experts about grandparenting and grandchildren and the needs that they have, there are 5 areas where when you decide that you're going to have an impact with your grandchildren and you decide you're going to have a relationship with them, these areas are areas that you are directly influencing their lives. The first one is giving them another person in their life, another adult that really has unconditional love for them. We know that our grandkids aren't perfect. And I know my wife is going to kill me for this, but I know my grandkids aren't perfect. And that's okay. I love them anyway. I know my sons, as they were growing up, weren't perfect, and I loved them anyway. And they know that me as a father and grandfather, I am not perfect, and they love me anyway. And I get that this is a very fortunate situation all the way around with this. But grandkids need to know that there are people out there besides moms and dads that are down in the trenches for the day-to-day activities that have unconditional love for them, that always greet them at the front door when we're coming to a visit with open arms, and that we're squatting down to just wrap those kids up in love whenever we see them. That we're there when we're walking through history centers or we're walking through children's museums or the zoo or whatever, and we reach out and we let them grab onto that one finger or 2 fingers, or if they're older, really grab our hands. And they know in that connection that we're providing them with unconditional love, because they know that the world is a rough place. Even the youngsters know that things aren't always fun, that sometimes they make mistakes, they get in trouble for things. Maybe, as an example, potty training's not coming along as fast as everybody wants, and there's some frustration there. Well, Grandpa and Grandma have unconditional love and are there to support that grandson, granddaughter on whatever that experience is that they have. And those kids, with that unconditional love, have a chance to relax and have a chance just to be themselves in their imperfect, perfect lives. The other thing that grandparents can have a direct impact is perspective, right? It's being able to offer them the long-term perspective. I mean, if you think back to when you were in middle school, high school, elementary school, you couldn't possibly imagine thinking in terms of next Christmas. I mean, next Christmas is coming around, but it is so far away. How could you possibly make plans on what you want to do in the fall and how you want to have your summer spent when you're thinking in terms of what are you going to do this week? What's going to come up next week? And that's about as far as your thinking can get you. Grandmas and grandpas can offer a longer term vision and perspective, and we can talk to them in terms of thinking about time being longer. And both that perspective is forward looking as well as backward looking, right? It's being able to talk to the kids and being able to show them how far they've come along. We can talk to them and show them pictures and maybe videos on the phones of when they're grabbing onto coffee tables and they're just trying to figure out how to walk. And now that same grandson is figuring out how to steal second base. And we can share with them that perspective of, hey, at first you weren't so good at walking around. You were always bumping your head on stuff. You were falling down. Next thing you know, you're off and running. You're to the races. Mom's chasing you out the front door to try to get you back inside. Whatever that is, you can share that perspective with that grandson that may be struggling on being able to read the pitcher, read the catcher, read the situation, and knowing how to take off as fast as they can to go steal second base. And maybe they're struggling with that and they're getting frustrated that they're getting thrown out at practices and they're getting frustrated that they're not all of a sudden Ricky Henderson. And that's a deep cut for all of us grandpas and people of grandpa age. But Ricky Henderson, a great base stealer. Your grandson, granddaughter may not be super excited with their progress, but you can have that perspective that you share with them and that you talk to them about how far they've come and that they will obtain a skill set and they will be able to do things better than where they're at right now. Another part, too, where we really impact our grandchildren is providing stability for them. We're there, and I know at some point we're not going to be there. But as they get to know us, as they get to interact with us, we provide a level of stability. I mean, how many times do you remember going to your grandparents' house and it seems like nothing changed in their house? Like, them rearranging the living room furniture was huge news and a huge change in the structure and how that house worked because, we provide both stability from a physical standpoint where I'm talking about, home furniture and such, but we also provide that stability of being pretty much the same person day in and day out with them. I mean, they know what to expect from us. They know that we're there. They know that we'll give them a call on their birthdays. They know that they may get a card when they do a really big event in their lives. Maybe they've got the lead in the school play and they know that they're going to get a card from grandma. They're going to get something from grandpa. They know that there's a person in their life that's maybe not living in their home that's going to be there for them, that's going to be able to really provide a basis where they can always go back and reset their emotions and really be able to get set and take on the world, right? The fourth part of this is the adventures and exploration of the world around them. I love adventures and I love the idea of having adventures with the grandchildren. And the reason I love that is because we've got an opportunity to show them how the world works. We've got an opportunity and we've got patience around being able to go off on adventures with them. Maybe it's a state park. Maybe it's the county park. Maybe it's just taking them to the zoo. Maybe it's taking them downtown and riding the subways around, or whatever that is. They could be large or small, but being able to have grandpa and grandma take you and show you things and explore the world and show them how much bigger the world is, and being able to talk to them about how life happens in different parts of the world. I mean, as the kids are growing up, and think back to when you were growing up, the world was your block, your neighborhood. It was maybe going to school on a bus, and that was a big deal when you were little. Maybe it was occasionally going to a relative's house, but that was kind of it. And then the world starts to expand around you. And grandparents can have a big time impact with this. And we're seeing this even in the travel agency, right? We're seeing a lot of what they call skip gen adventures and skip gen travel. And that's where grandparents and grandkids are going off and taking adventures and going off and doing things during the summers, during the fall, whatever that might be. We're able to go and take a cruise. We're able to go and visit the neighboring city. We're able to go and do some different things. And all of that pours wisdom and knowledge into the grandkids while we're still having fun. So that's the fourth way that we can have a direct impact on our grandchildren. The other piece, too, that I want to talk about is the connections that we are able to build with them and give those grandkids a sense of place in the family and the world. And this all really ties in together, right? They're connected with us. They've got somebody that's immediately, as they start getting old enough to figure things out, grandma's a friend, grandpa's a friend. We're connected. They know that they've got mom and dad, and they've got the dog or the cat in the house. They might have chickens in the backyard. And then they've got these other people that don't live with them, that are part of their family, that love them, and that they've got a place in this, that they're the youngest for a period of time, and they've got roles to play, and they've got a place in this family. And then, of course, they've got a place in the world, too. We build up these connections, and we help show them through adventures and through our perspective and through sharing our stories and our experiences with them, where they kind of fit within the world, and how they're fortunate to live where they live, and how fortunate they are to have what they have. And this isn't saying everybody has everything and everybody's world is perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that we have an opportunity to help give them a sense of stability and a sense of where their place is within the family and the world. So the next time that you're out driving around, you're taking a walk, you're working in the garden, you're working in the woodshed, whatever it is, and you're wondering, like, is this all worth it? Is doing this beyond just having fun with grandkids? Am I really having an impact on the grandchildren? I want you to think back on these 5 areas that we talked about and know that by you making an intentional choice, you are having an impact on these kids. You are showing them unconditional love. You are showing them and giving them a perspective of time and their place within time. And you're being able to give them stability by consciously making an effort to write them little notes, send them a text message, shoot a birthday card to them, give them a thank you card, give them, whatever they need. You're able to provide that stability and that base for them. And then when you can, you're taking them on adventures. And an adventure could be big or small. An adventure could be walking around the neighborhood block. And it could be letting them examine how the ants are crawling along on the concrete and talking to them about the ants and what's going on there. Or it could be taking them off onto a trip to a distant land, a distant city, or the city and town next door, and just exploring that area around them. So adventures, big and small. And then the last one, the connections, the sense of place within the family and the world. You're providing all of these things by intentionally having a relationship and working on that relationship with your grandchildren. Now, does everybody have these kinds of relationships with the grandchildren where you can, meet all these things? No, and I get that. But I also know too is that if you do what you can and you're willing to put forth the effort, and if they're willing to reciprocate and be open to that relationship, you can have a big direct impact on those grandchildren. The next thing I want to talk to you about is Grandparents Academy. And I know that most of you understand that I've got an affiliate relationship with Grandparents Academy for both the paid version of Grandparents Week, as well as I've done some courses with Grandparents Academy. Even if they weren't having this affiliate relationship with me, I would still suggest that you check out Grandparents Academy. Aaron has done such a great job of bringing together so many different resources, so many different experts, with having these different courses that he's offering and a lot of free resources that are available for parents and grandparents. So if you haven't checked out Grandparents Academy, go to grandparentsacademy.com. That's not an affiliate link or anything there. Just go to grandparentsacademy.com. Check it out. See what Aaron has there for you. And see if it makes sense for you to join up with Grandparents Academy so that you can add more information, more resources to the toolbox with you being able to be the awesome grandparent that you are. I am honored to be presenting as part of Grandparents Week about how to turbocharge the grandfathering experience. This is a fun interview that I had with Aaron, and we went over so many ideas about what grandfathers can do to really increase, and I hate the word, but I'm going to use it, level up the experience and relationship that they have between grandfather and grandchild. Now, Grandparents Week is the largest virtual celebration and educational conference for grandparents. There are over 20 experts this year offering mini classes, and this experience is going on from September 10th through September 16th, 2023. Admission is free, and there's giveaways for those who register in advance. So I do have a link in the show notes that you can click on, but you can go to grandparentsacademy.com. Again, I'd love to get the affiliate part of this, but it's so important to me that you have the tools that you need to be the awesome grandfather, the awesome grandmother, that I just want you to get involved and get signed up for Grandparents Week. Now, here's some of the topics that are going to be covered during this event. Artificial intelligence and grandparenting. Holy cow. Huge topic that's going on with ChatGPT coming public earlier this year, and everybody diving in and wondering how this is going to affect jobs and schools and, grandparenting. They've got somebody talking about grandparenting from a distance, and I know that's a topic that we've covered, and we've got some ideas about that we've shared. First steps for new grandparents. Holy cow. Boy, when you hear that you're going to be a grandparent for the first time, there's a lot of information that you need to get your hands on so that you can make the most of this opportunity, as well as making sure that you start that relationship off with the grandchild's parents as well as you can. Because I can tell you, if you get that relationship off the ground and moving in a good way, it smooths out a lot of potential thorny issues that might come up later. Connecting with teenage grandchildren, super important. We all know that, once grandkids and kids in general hit those teenage years, man, they're too cool for school. They may not have time to let you know what even the weather's like. But I can tell you that engaged grandfathers, engaged grandparents mean a lot to teenagers. Even if they don't even really recognize you so much, they're watching you like a hawk. They're watching how grandpa treats grandma in the kitchen when they're cleaning up dishes. They watch the little things about grandma reaching out for grandpa's hand and holding his hand while they're taking a drive and the teenage grandchildren are in the back seat. They're watching all of this stuff and they're taking it in. They're not always talking to you about it, but this area of connecting with teenage grandchildren can really help make sure that you understand the impact that you have with them, as well as how you can best connect with them so that you can keep that communication open as they're getting older. The couple of other things here on this list, and I'm not going over everything, is resources for raising grandchildren. This is huge, and we've talked with experts on the podcast about grandparents raising grandchildren, why we have to do that. We've got drugs, and we've got detention, and we've got parents just abandoning kids. And grandparents are stepping in more and more and raising those kids. And, it's been 20, 30 years since we had kids of our own, let's say. So knowing what's going on today, knowing what resources are out there to support grandparents, if you happen to be in a situation where you're raising grandchildren, is huge. And then overcoming grandparent alienation. I mean, how do we repair relationships? How do we reach out? How do we do different things so that if there has been a strain in those relationships, how do you start to overcome that and get back? So I do hope you check out Grandparents Academy and sign up for Grandparents Week. I'd love it if you use my affiliate link that's in the show notes. But even if you don't, if you just go to grandparentsacademy.com, just sign up there. It's a great resource. And I'm more concerned with making sure that you've got what you need and you're finding experts that can help you out with maybe a specific need that you have, or just general information so that you can support the other grandparents around you, right? Versus me getting a few dollars from Aaron as part of the affiliates. So I want you to have the information you need. I want you to know that what you do as a proactive grandfather and grandmother makes a huge difference in the lives of the grandkids and the lives of your adult children as well. And, I think that's enough talk from me. So I'm going to wrap this up. I hope you're having an awesome summer. I hope to see you here for Grandparents Academy's Grandparents Week. Again, that's from September 10th to September 16th. And until we talk again next time, remember to stay cool. Thank you for listening to the Cool Grandpa Podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, please do me a favor and share it with a friend. That's the best way you can help us to expand our community, as well as get the news out about how valuable grandpas are in the lives of those kids. If you'd like to leave me a comment or shoot me a potential topic for this podcast, please go to www.cool-grandpa.us. Look for the comments tab, fill it out, hit submit. It's as easy as that. Until next time, remember to stay cool.